So now that we've done the slabs and the balconies on one side, we're going to do the same thing to this building in the middle. In a way, this video is going to be a slight repetition of the last one. So you can skip through it if you feel really confident that you can do all of this quite easily. I'm just going to do it on camera so that you can see the entire process and I don't really skip through anything that's important. So we're going to do it quickly this time. I'm going to isolate, select all of the lines. I'm going to select a loop. We're going to create a shape. The only difference is this time the shape is going to be slightly on the outside, so we're going to add balconies to each of these levels. I think it's about 2 meters we can go. We can change that distance later as well if we like. There's two ways you can do this. You can either make the slab on the inside as one object and then the balcony on the outside as a separate object. And I'm going to do it that way. It's slightly more complex, but I'll show you why we have much more flexibility that way. So what we're going to do, let's isolate. Just go back down, re-isolate. There we go. We're going to extrude minus 0.25 without the capping. Let's just see what happens if we do cap it. You'll see this time the capping worked without any problem because none of these outlines were facing in the wrong direction. So otherwise we'd have to do it the same way we did last time when we ran into that little bug. So what I'm going to do to make the balcony stick out on the other side is I'm going to make a copy of this by pressing Ctrl V, and instead of extrude I'm going to do a sweep. Now let's zoom in here so we can see what's going on. The sweep is going to have a bar, so that's correct. Then the distance here we will align it slightly differently so it's in the opposite corner. And this distance here is the depth, so we're going to do 0.25, so it's the same as the balcony, same as the slab. And then this part here is going to be the width. And the reason why this is fantastic is with one parameter being this width figure here, we can adjust the width of the entire balcony on the whole building. So that is much better than going back into editable spline, then creating an outline and doing it that way. So this way we don't touch the slabs on the inside, we're just focusing on the lines on the outside. So let's say we're going to choose 2 meters. We can then go to the step where we want to make the balustrades. Now we can do it two ways. Either we can add an edit poly modifier and then select all the edges and then create a shape out of that, or we can use the same shape, press Ctrl V, copy, go back down to the editable spline level, and here we will have to use that outline command. So here we can use an outline by a positive 2 meters. So let's just type in 2 here. Let's just do that again quickly. 2 meters and enter. And we're going to delete that inner line. So now we're left with the outer line here. So that sweep is now going to be a different sweep. We don't want to sweep outwards. We want to sweep up. So we're going to change the direction first of all into this one right here. And I think that this is going to be the right one. So now the width of that balcony, let's say we're going to be using glass or something thin. We could also just extrude it straight upwards. So I'm going to do it this way. 0.1, so that's 1 centimeter for glass, and the length is going to be 1 meter high. So let's say this will be a glass balustrade or another material. So this sweep command is slightly different to what we did on the previous one where we only extruded it up. So here I want to go back and just see why we don't see these ones here. And I think that we actually had an error that we didn't see because we didn't zoom out and we didn't have a look at it. The error here will be that these ones here are facing in the wrong direction. So you can see that they also have the balcony and balustrades, but they're actually facing inwards. So all we need to do there to fix that, we need to go down into editable spline, select number 3, which is your spline, and then just select the ones which are facing in the wrong direction, which is these guys here. Scroll down, click on reverse, and you should see that will correct itself. Now these inversely facing splines are quite bothersome, so they do add a little bit of trickiness to the whole process. So what I'm doing now is I'm just manually going to move this out. We could also do another outline on these. Perhaps that is the quickest. Let's try doing an outline of 4 meters, and it has to be the opposite, so we have to reverse it first. So press reverse and then 4 meters again, so that it is in the right place. We delete on the keyboard, and we let go. So now all of those have been corrected. And if we do a zoom extents, you'll see that we have now all of these slabs in place. So the last thing we're going to do before this video is over is we're just going to extrude up the columns. And just to keep things simple again, since that is the general theme, let's only extrude up the columns that we need. So let's go into plan view, and I'm going to start with this row here, and I will see if I need any more than that. Since most of the columns are going to be interior, so I only really want to show the ones that are protruding outside of the building, holding up those extended balconies. So I'm going to start with a rectangle, and I can actually start this on a new layer. So we can call that 03 columns, and we can, with the snap tool, snap the column in, and then holding down shift we can copy that and just make instances of these columns. I like to press spacebar just to lock down the object that I'm copying. So each time I do that and I repeat. So now I have several these 4 columns all instanced, and I can go and move them up into the correct height. And I believe that correct height, just to remind us, is this 22.5, or actually we can start at 30.5. So we can move that up. 30.5. That's actually up here, so I think we have to go one level down. So let's drop that down to 22.5. Right, now we're going to extrude that up, so we're just going to add an extrude modifier. Let's say we'll go 150 meters. That'll shoot that straight up. And we can see that these columns are actually outside, so we need to move them one grid inwards. So pressing down the space bar, we can lock down that selection, and we can just, using the AutoCAD as our reference, move it across. And you'll see now that that line of columns now lines up and supports this line of balconies. And that is it for this video. What we've done is we've repeated the process of creating the slabs and the balustrades on this building, and we've gone and extruded up these columns on here. Now in the next video we will look at further detailing. We can go and do the columns to this building, and we can then also start looking at how we will start to make the main structure, which is here surrounding this building in the middle, holding up the eventual stadium, which we will build right at the end. So that is it for this one, and next one is coming right up.